Again, I want to remind the public that tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. at the Bond Auditorium, there is a comprehensive plan meeting to discuss the future kind of zoning and plans for how the city is laid out. Steve, do you have anything that you want to?
No, we just, thank you for mentioning that. We appreciate everyone that's interested to be there tomorrow night and let your thoughts be known. It's the future land use for the city and how we develop the city moving forward. So thank you for mentioning that.
You bet. Make your voice heard. Okay, next up on the agenda is to consider approval of minutes for October 18th, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of approving the agenda for October 2023, say aye.
Aye.
So moved. Okay, moving on. Public hearing, case number PD 2022-003, update. Applicant 2828 Real Estate LLC, pursuant to the requirements set forth by section 154.08 of the City of Stephenville zoning ordinance, is presenting an update and requesting an extension of the development schedule for the planned development location at 1300 Con Hill Drive, parcel R50244, being Lot 1 of S5465 Glasgow Edition of the City of Stephenville, Erath County, Texas. Mr. Killen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Commissioners, I'm sure you recall this PD. It was it was a very extensive and a well-done submittal back in May of 2022. You recommended a unanimous approval of that to City Council. And on June 7th, 2022, the City Council approved ordinance 2022-0-16 and rezoned that property from single-family residential to planned development district. City ordinance requires that a planned development be updated on an annual basis, and so that's what this is about tonight. And we are asking that you consider the modified development schedule that Mr. Haskey presented. And if we look at the next submittal or the next document on his development schedule, basically to summarize that quickly is that he hopes to have the permitting process beginning very soon, with completion of the project around August of 2024. And with that, Madam Chair, I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions?
How far from the original schedule is this, Steve?
He originally intended to get started right away, so I mean, I guess we're running about a 12-month delay since we're doing the update, but of course, a lot of things changed after that with the economy, and so he's been waiting for the timing to be more advantageous for his project.
Understood. Thank you, sir.
Okay, is the developer here tonight?
Do not see him.
Okay. I'll go ahead and open a public, I do need to do a public hearing, yes? Yes?
Yes.
No? No? All right. Going to open a public hearing. Does anybody here wish to speak in favor of this revised schedule? Does anybody wish to speak against? Closing the public hearing, commissioners. We need a motion.
I move that we recommend approval of the updated schedule to City Council.
Second.
Do we need a discussion? All those in favor of recommended to City Council, this updated schedule, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Moving on. Case number RZ 2023-007. Applicant Ryan Gailey, representing V84 Holdings LLC, is requesting a rezone of property located at 1900 Grosbeck, parcel R71065, acres 5.000, S2600, City Edition, Block 149, Lot 2, PTOF of the City of Stephenville, Erath County, Texas, from industrial to R3 multifamily residential district. Steve.
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Gailey is present tonight. He is asking for a rezone of this property from industrial to, property's currently zoning of industrial. Future land use is B2, and he is asking for a revision or a rezone to R3 to allow for multifamily construction of this property. As as you all very well know, and as we'll hear tomorrow night in our comprehensive update, housing is very much needed across the city, and particularly we are falling behind on the student housing needs for Tarleton State University. So this would be a good project, and I think an area that would spur some further development. We did have one letter of support submitted, and that was issued out to the commission, I believe, day before yesterday, and that was from Mr. Greg Bruner asking that he would like to express support of the project. And with that, ma'am, I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Thank you, sir. Any questions?
I don't know if I can ask this right now or not, but the power lines and water lines, I was kind of concerned with those.
So during the development review and as we get into that process, and we would work with developer on moving whatever utilities that have to be moved, overhead lines, et cetera. So that's pretty common with a lot of projects, and something that we'll address once we get into the review process.
Okay.
The access point, it won't be directly off of 377, is that correct?
No, sir, not directly to 377. Mr. Gailey's here. I may want to defer these to him on what his actual site plan might be. But he has an access point off of Corporal. You might see that there's a cul-de-sac in the map provided, and I believe there was some interest at one point of maybe having that access his property on that southwestern portion of the property. But again, I would prefer to defer to Mr. Gailey on that particular question.
Any other questions for Steve? Mr. Gailey, would you like to address that question and anything else you might have to add?
Yes, Ryan Gailey, VD4 Holdings. The main access would be off of Grosbeck, which is underneath that bridge. Grosbeck kind of, there's that, it's a packing mill now that goes there, it's right off of Harbin, if you know exactly kind of where that is. That would be the main access, and then the property is kind of a long, skinny area, kind of a funky-looking golf club kind of a thing. So there's a small access point in the back of it where it touches that cul-de-sac back there.
Okay, questions for Mr. Gailey? Thank you, sir.
Mhm.
All right, I'll go ahead and open a public hearing. Is there anybody here who wishes to speak against this rezoning request? Is there anybody here who wishes to speak in favor? Okay. I will close the public hearing and note that we did have one letter in support from Mr. Bruner. Okay, commissioners, we need a motion to discuss.
I move that we recommend RZ 2023-07 to council for approval.
Second.
All right. Any discussion? All those in favor of recommending to council rezoning of this property from industrial to R3, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, you know the drill. This goes next to city council, and that's who will make the final decision. Thank you, sir. All right, next up, case number FP 2023-005, applicant Ward Rab, representing Atwoods Distributing LP, is requesting approval of final plat for property located at 1800 North US Highway 281, parcel R77945, acres 11.961, a 0804 Williams MR of the city of Stephenville, Erath County, Texas. Steve.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Project I'm sure everyone's familiar with, and we're looking forward to seeing come to fruition. They have submitted a final plat which conforms to the preliminary plat. We are requesting that the Planning and Zoning Commission consider granting conditional approval on the final plat. There are two items that need to be wrapped up before the final plat can be approved and recorded, and that is providing record drawings of the project and executing a stormwater facility maintenance agreement. That is at the direction of our Public Works Department. Otherwise, city staff supports the approval of the final plat.
Thank you. Any questions for Steve? Is Mr. Rapp here tonight?
Right here.
do you have anything you need to add?
Just that both of those items he mentioned are in motion.
Thank you.
They're being done as we speak.
Excellent. Do we need to do a public hearing on this, or we can just decide?
It's really at your discretion. It's not required, and historically speaking, I think we always have.
All right, well, we'll go ahead and open a public hearing. I don't expect anybody's here to talk about this, but if anybody wishes to speak in favor or against of this final plat? Nope. Closing the public hearing. Commissioners, I need a motion.
I move that we recommend approval of the final plat.
We just approved.
Oh.
At this level. for
Oh, I
plat
recommend we
conditions.
approve the final plat
With,
the conditions set forth by the director.
Second.
Sorry, I'm still learning.
you're doing great. I'm still learning.
Brian
too.
gave me his
10
notes.
years.
You're very shaky.
Okay, discussion? All those in favor of approving this final plat with conditions, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, that's approved.
Yes, a motion.
Next up, case number RP 2023-002, applicant Malcolm Canute of Bosky Clark LLC is requesting an approval of a replat of the properties located at Prairie Wind OFF, parcel R63099 of S5640 River North Ranchettes, Block 1, Lot 2 of the City of Stephenville, Erath County, Texas, Prairie Wind OFF parcel R63100 of 5640 River North Ranchettes, Block 1, Lot 3 of the City of Stephenville, Erath County, Texas, Prairie Wind OFF parcel R63101 of S5640 River North Ranchettes, Block 1, Lot 4 of the City of Stephenville, Erath County, Texas, Prairie Wind OFF parcel R63105 of S5640 River North Ranchettes. I think I'm reading the same line over and over. Block 1, Lot 5, WPTOF of the City of Stephenville, Erath County, Texas, Prairie Wind OF parcel RZ3113 of S5640 River North Ranchettes, Block 1, Lot 6, WPTOF of the City of Stephenville, Erath County, Texas, 0 River North, parcel R40037 of A0032 Blair John of the City of Stephenville, Erath County, Texas, Prairie Wind OFF, parcel R14960 of S5640 River North Ranchettes, Block 1, Lot 7, WPTOF of the City of Stephenville, Erath County, Texas.
Have I told you how much I appreciate you?
No, that's what I was thinking. That's like way better than I was. Right there.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So you may recall December 2021, the applicant, Mr. Canute, submitted a preliminary plat for a development off of Prairie Wind. It's going to be roughly 82 lots, if I recall correctly. Since that time, there's been some further developments, and what he is proposing now is basically the same as what we had before. He's got a replat that is going to take those existing parcels. Again, the preliminary plat is not a document that's recorded at the county. It's just something that illustrates what the development's going to look like. And that preliminary plat would normally expire this coming December. After a certain amount of time, if it's not acted on, it expires. So Mr. Canute has this replat, and what he's going to do is take some lots that are along Isla and also along Mistletoe. That will be a total of 10 residential lots along those existing streets. He's going to develop those, build on those lots in this phase 1. And then phase 2 will be that remainder lot, which is the larger portion of that property. That will be a future phase. Again, he's still looking at developing single-family homes. He'll still have approximately 82 homes upon completion. And so this is basically just allowing him to begin the project, started in phases. And so he will be submitting, he's already submitted a lot of information to the city in regards to drainage. The larger lot of the development is accepting drainage from the 10 lots that he's proposing for single family. In essence, what he's doing is again, starting a phased construction which will allow him to spend more time developing the stormwater drainage and those plans associated with the larger portion. And then, once he has that in hand, he can begin the construction, and we're either going to, what he is proposing is either he will move forward with the improvements, completing the improvements, having the acceptance, or he will work with the city to develop an escrow agreement. So what we're asking is that the replat be approved with the following conditions: provide setbacks, add signature blocks for city secretary, development services, and county clerk, and then obtain acceptance on all public improvements pursuant to chapter 155-505 of the Code of Ordinances, enter into an escrow agreement for the completion of public improvements. And basically what that would do is it would allow him to move forward with construction before the final plat, or with the building permits, and have the final plat filed with the improvements being completed at the end of the project. And with that, I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions for Steve?
As of right now, is this part of any subdivision? I understand the plat that's the preliminary that's been submitted showed the entire development, correct?
Correct.
And this is kind of separating this part out and doing it as separate properties, not as part of that development?
It's gonna be phase one of the development.
Okay.
There will be a future phase that will bring all of that together. And in reality, it's going to look very, very similar, if not identical, to the preliminary plat that was previously submitted. This is just allowing him to begin on the project in a smaller step.
Understood. I just want to, my question comes from the deed restrictions and the building restrictions as set forth in that subdivision plat that's been preliminary. That would affect these 10 lots as well, or if it's just a regular replat, would these not be subject to any restrictions as to the development?
So the restrictions had not been named in the preliminary plat.
Okay.
But once we move forward with the actual final plating, any common area, et cetera, will have to be brought into an HOA. And so those items will be addressed once we get into and then the deed restrictions will also be a component of those documents, which will be upon filing of the final plat.
Okay. Thanks, sir.
Yes, sir.
Other questions? Okay, Mr. Canute, do you have anything that you'd like to add?
I don't express.
I have a problem.
Okay, hang on one second and I'll open a public hearing.
Hello. The only thing I'd like to add is, it was pretty much already said, Steve is very correct in that the development from when we started this 2 years ago is still, for all intents and purposes, the exact same development, same number of lots, same style. The homes we're going to be constructing in there will all be the same to what we were proposing 2 years ago, all conforming to the, especially these 10 lots, the R1 standards. So it's basically the same thing. It just allows us to start on some somewhat readily available buildable lots while there's extensive improvements that obviously have to happen for the entire development. Steve brought up earlier, there's a tremendous need for housing. We see that, we know that, so we're trying to get some homes going as soon as possible to put some more rooftops up, so.
Okay, thank you, sir. All right, we'll go ahead and open a public hearing. If anybody wishes to speak in favor of this replat? If anybody wishes to speak against this replat? Sir, would you like to speak?
Yes,
Okay, please go up to the podium and state your name and address. You have 3 minutes.
it has absolutely nothing to do with what the subject matter is,
All right?
but I can't hear anything. I got my hearing aids in, I can hear you, the lady, just a little bit, I can hear him,
Everybody can.
and
Please state your name and your address for the record.
Owen Raspberry, 301 Midnight Shadow.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I know I'm surprising you because I'm not sticking with business, but I can't hear what's going on. Does anyone else have that problem? Maybe my hearing aids aren't working, but I thought they were. Can everyone hear everybody they want
Yep.
to? Well, then I guess I'm in the wrong place. I wanted to attend, but
All right, so this was strictly a sound concern. Okay, thank you, sir. We will speak up.
do you
Yes.
have microphones or not?
We do, but
Yes, sir.
Okay.
we will all endeavor to be much more loud. Thank you for pointing that out.
Yes, sir,
I don't know
thank
if
you.
that was a wise question on my part. No, I do appreciate that.
Thank you, sir. All right, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Commissioners, we need a motion. Oh, I'm sorry, thank you, sir. I closed too soon. Reopening the public hearing. Please state your name and your address.
Okay, I'm Marshall Lee, and I live at 695 Prairie Wind, which is right there adjoining this property. And the question I was having, is Prairie Wind continuing in such a rough manner? I thought it was going to be a thoroughfare, and it's got so many 90-degree turns in it after their replat that, to me, it's going to be a lot of congestion. And right now, we're already having wrecks at the end of, Isla, where it hits the Lingerville Road. Everybody's trying to get out that way. Whereas if maybe Prairie Wind continued around to Ollie, where it's normally supposed to be, that, they maybe could put a red light in the future there, and it wouldn't be such a problem getting out on the Lingerville Road. That was my concern.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. I'm sure that's something the city is considering, the traffic patterns as this is developed.
Yes,
Steve?
ma'am.
Yeah.
We're working with a developer on that. There is a potential rerouting of that road through a thoroughfare plan adjustment, which has been reviewed by staff. And if that continues to be the desire of the developer moving forward, then that thoroughfare plan waiver will be reviewed again. And, but the actual traffic control will be also reviewed through Public Works Department during the review process. So thank you for pointing that out, sir.
Thank you. All right, so anybody else wish to speak regarding this replat? All right, now I'm closing the public hearing. Commissioners, now I need a motion.
Make a motion to approve case number RP 2023-002 with the, I'm sorry.
With conditions.
With the conditions listed here.
Thank you, sir.
You bet.
Second.
I can yell that for. I'm on that.
Discussion, we're good? All right, commissioners, all those in favor of approving the replat with the noted conditions, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right, moving on. Next up. Thank you very much for coming. Case number PP 2023-002. Applicant Reese Flanagan of Flanagan Land Solutions, representing Joel Allen with Pecan Landing Development Incorporated, is requesting a preliminary plat of property located at 0 Forest Lane, parcel R77, 510, acres 36.765, A0515, Motley William of the city of Stephenville, Urathe County, Texas. The applicant is requesting approval of a preliminary plat of one lot into 157 lots. Mr. Killen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Sure you recall, April of 2023, Mr. Allen came forward with a plan development, and that was approved. He is now submitting civil plans to the city, working with us through the submittal process and the review process of those plans. He's also requesting approval of this preliminary plat, which is identical to the site plan that we reviewed in April of 2023. Staff has reviewed the preliminary plat. The preliminary plat, a final plat will be submitted once the public improvements are completed and Mr. Allen receives acceptance on those public improvements. But for the preliminary plat, we are asking that the commission consider a conditional approval. The preliminary plat has common areas, and Mr. Allen and his team have labeled those common areas, We need those common areas to show that they're going to be controlled by the HOA and not dedicated to the city, and there was a correction that they were going to make on that. I don't know if it had not been corrected at the time of this meeting, so we'll keep that condition in there. Also, lot 1X of block F is the lot that you might remember that Mr. Allen was dedicating to the city for park use. So we need that identified. There is an access easement along Forest Lane for a screening wall maintenance, and they're going to provide some clarification on that. And then setbacks, I believe, have been noted on the plat. And then they've also already made the correction to have the preliminary plat show not for recording purposes. Madam Chair, I think the easiest thing, if the commission would at the commission's pleasure, would be to approve the preliminary plat with the conditions as presented. And as they bring the plat to us with those corrections, the plat will then be considered approved. Again, this is a preliminary plat, so it's not recorded at the county. It's just a document for reference point as we move towards final plat. With that, be glad to answer any questions.
Thank you, sir. Any questions? All right.
So, hold on, sorry. I was thinking, I'm slow. And you know I'm gonna have a question. So Steve, on the lot 14X, it shows that they have open space slash electric easements, so that tells me it's gonna be HOA maintained, right? On the big long Brazos easement, it just shows electric easement without any regard to maintenance. That's kind of a question of who's gonna do it, or lot owners responsible, that kind of thing. And I know those can get nasty in a hurry. Just something to note for future.
Well, staff review has indicated that we want the common areas to, a plat note to reflect whose
Okay.
maintenance responsibility that will be.
Awesome.
If Mr. Allen has any comments to add to that, he is here tonight along with his engineer, and so I would defer that to him.
Okay.
But we have noted on the plat that we, as a condition, that we want those areas identified as who the ongoing maintenance will fall on. Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Allen, do you have anything you'd like to add?
I'll just quickly give a report that we're happy to report that we're moving forward and excited to get our engineering in motion and comments back from the city. We've been very diligent to submit a thorough submittal so that we can have a solid footing to work off of. And we hope to keep you posted as it's going along. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. All right, we'll go ahead and open a public hearing. Is there anybody here who wishes to speak in favor of this preliminary plat? Anybody who wishes to speak against? I'll close the public hearing, commissioners. I need a motion.
I move that we approve the plat with conditions.
Second.
All those in favor of approving the preliminary plat with the noted conditions, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, moving on. Thank you, sir. Case number PP 2023-003, applicant Reese Flanagan of Flanagan Land Solutions, representing Troy Kunkel with Cowtown Properties and 598 Westwood LLC, is requesting to amend the planned development / preliminary plat of properties located at 817 West Washington, being parcel 29583 of City Edition, Block 62, Lot 6A, 7, 1417, PT of 14, 855 and 865 West Washington, being parcel R2 9581 of City Edition, Block 62, lots 4, 5, 6B, PT of 5, 873 West Washington, being parcel R2 9580 of City Edition, Block 62, Lot 3, and 897 West Washington, being parcel R2 9579 of City Edition, Block 62, Lot 2 of the City of Stephenville, Erath County, Texas. Mr. Kellen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Flanagan, the applicant, is here tonight, and I may have to rely on him for some answers on any really specific or technical questions, but let me provide a little background. On August 15, 2021, a conceptual plan was presented to the Planning and Zoning Commission, and then again on December 21st, The commission recommended the city council approve the PD. In March of 2023, the city council approved a modified development schedule after you guys sent a favorable recommendation to the council. We have been working with the developer and Mr. Flanagan on this project for ever since we were here. And through that process, we discovered that there were additional right-of-way requirements along Washington, and that required some slight modifications to the preliminary plat for the project. And so overall, the project doesn't change in great magnitude, and we probably could have proceeded as a minor adjustment to the preliminary plat, which we're authorized to do by ordinance. But what they're wanting to do is they acquired a property to the west of the original site plan. And that was going to become a common area for the development. Well, now that we've made some modifications to the site plan so they don't lose any of the units that they had proposed originally, they're wanting to incorporate that new lot into their site plan. They will still have the same number of units, and Ms. Flanagan, please correct me when you make comments if I'm wrong on any of this. But overall, the plan is the same. It's just that it's having to shift. And we did have one letter of opposition. That one letter was submitted to the commission for review. That was by Miss Janice Aceto, and she has the property behind here. Her property is accessed through an access easement that's been on the books since, I believe, I'm going on memory, 1906. And that easement is still reflected in the site plan that Mr. Flanagan is proposing. So this is, again, it's just a preliminary plat. It's so we can move forward with the development as it's presented. It's very similar to the original site plan. And in all honesty, we're thankful that the developer was willing to work with us on that additional right-of-way requirement. So with that, Madam Chair, this is a preliminary plat. Final plat will be submitted to the commission upon completion and acceptance of public improvements. And I'd be glad to answer any questions. Thank you.
If Ms. Sacita's letter talked about property access, so she said in her letter, she seemed to imply that this would not allow her access. So you're saying that that is not the case. She will have access.
Yes, ma'am. There's a
That's also on the map.
Okay. Okay, so she's mistaken?
existing concrete drive and access to
Okay.
easement to remain. And so,
All right.
in fact, it is likely going to be an improvement for access to her property because they will be putting in new concrete or asphalt.
All right.
And going back to that same letter, she said something about water, the water line was also running through that same access, but it's not indicated on the map.
If there is a water line, we allow water line and sewer lines under easements all the time. So that's not any type of
I
issue
just
for
wanted
the
to see if
city.
it was inside that same easement or if it was something that was gonna be built over. the-
I assumed it was a service line when I was looking at it, just to hear
Yeah.
the way she talked about them having to repair it so many times. That tells me that it's not a city property, just via that, because city water line breaks, you call city, they fix it.
Okay, any questions, further questions for Steve? All right, thank you, sir. You said Mr. Flanagan is here tonight? Yes, sir. Do you have anything that you would like to add?
Sure. The access easement will remain open, and I do think it's going to be an improvement. And to answer the water question, part of this development is essentially replacing whatever is out there and bringing her a new water line to serve that property in the north. So I do think if anything happens, the water should be a better situation. But overall, the reason this is really coming back is the property to the west that the developer acquired. He had to acquire that because that property shared a driveway that was connected to our development. And to work with TxDOT, there was really nothing else we could do. And the solution was, once we figured out we had to dedicate the right-of-way, once we found out there was a storm drain line that the city maintains on the north side of the property, everything got squeezed a little bit, and now we're just utilizing that property to the west to maintain the lot count. But other than that, just here to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions, Mark?
So was it just an issue, they weren't gonna give you another driveway permit right there where they?
No way, yeah.
That's
And,
an-
and that sliver that's getting incorporated into the PD is so skinny, you know, we played around with a bunch of scenarios and we were like, nothing really fits here, other than more townhomes, so.
All right, thank you, sir.
Of course.
All right, we'll go ahead and open a public hearing regarding the, let's see, which we are calling this a preliminary plat of properties, and the second one is the rezone. Okay, so just the preliminary plat. Anybody here wish to speak in favor or against this preliminary plat? Closing the public hearing. Commissioners?
I recommend approval of PP 2023-003.
Second.
All right, and no conditions. Commissioners, all those in favor of approving this preliminary plat, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, moving on. Finally, case number RZ 2023-008, applicant Reese Flanagan of Flanagan Land Solutions, representing Troy Kunkel with Cowtown Properties, is requesting a rezone of property located at 897 West Washington, being parcel R29579 S2600, City Edition, Block 62, Lot 2 of the City of Stephenville, Erath County, Texas, from B2 Retail and Commercial to PD Plan Development. Mr. Killen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So this is a sister case to what we just discussed. This is that additional parcel that they acquired after the PD was approved and what they are now leaning on for the site plan corrections. This is a request to rezone from existing to PD. And normally with the PD request, we have a lot of documents that accompany that, including conceptual plans and renderings. We're gonna piggyback off of the existing PD, and we're just incorporating this lot into that PD. And so with that, Madam Chair, I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Questions for Steve? All right, Mr. Flanagan, I assume nothing new to add?
Nothing new.
All right, I'll go ahead and open this to a public hearing. Is there anybody here who wishes to speak in favor of this rezone request? Anybody who wishes to speak against? I will close the public hearing. Commissioners?
I'd like to recommend to council approval of RZ 2023-008.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of recommending to council approval of this rezone request, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for attending this evening. I need a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your time.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you. I hope it got a little better.